We've got to talk about how teenagers in this modern day football act like veterans from day one. Because if you're a football fan, I know you have been wondering, how does a player like Adama Traore, who is fast and strong, ends up playing for small teams, while a player like Lamine Yamal takes over football in just 2 seasons. And this data that I'm about to present is going to highlight how this current generation is producing dominant teenagers compared to the previous generation. Before turning 19, Lionel Messi had played 43 games and had 9 goals and 5 assists. Ronaldo had played 55 games and had 6 goals and 7 assists. Kylian Mbappe had played 90 games and had 38 goals and 31 assists. Meanwhile, Lamine Yamal has played 160 games and scored 51 goals and had 56 assists. Never has it ever happened that a player took over as the main player for a big team like Barcelona and a big national team like Spain in just his second season. And not just playing, this guy is actually winning trophies for both his club and national team. Lionel Messi, when he was coming up, he had Ronaldinho to look up to. Kylian Mbappe had Neymar and Griezmann, while Ronaldo had Ruud van Nistelrooy and Figo. It looks like ever since Yamal stepped onto the pitch, there has never been a time where a teammate was considered better than him. And don't get me wrong, young players dominating is nothing new. Hence we had Michael Owen and Ronaldo Nazario, who both became the youngest players ever to win the Ballon d'Ors, with Michael Owen winning it while he was 22 years old. Ronaldo won it as a 21-year-old, but at the age of 19, Yamal has 3 more years to break that record. And most football fans are acting like this is normal, but this is the best definition of abnormal. Like an 18-year-old ayyoubb got all 3 starting midfielders of Brazil stabbed off during the game against Morocco and Brazil. Bossing a midfield of Bruno Guimaraes, Casemiro and Fabinho should not be seen as normal, and this is what your favorite media outlets are not talking about. The gap between international junior football and first team football seems to have been shrunk, because currently it looks like this is happening every season, that a young player makes a jump from playing for the under 18 to winning a man of the match award for playing for a senior national football team. And this is what Rio Ngumoha did when he made his debut for England as a 17-year-old. In the entire game, the team was almost looking for him as an outlet. Whenever they were in ball position, whenever they needed a creative spark, they sent the ball to a 17-year-old. But England would eventually call up Noni Madueke to the World Cup, even though Noni Madueke scored 3 goals and made 1 assist in the entire games of the Premier League, while Rio scored 2 goals and made the same amount of assists. And for me, this whole teenage problem started with Barcelona's Pedri in the 2020-21 season, when he played 73 games for both Spain and Barcelona, playing a position that needs brains and high IQ. Hence a midfield number 8 is involved in both defense and in attack. The position needs a high level of focus because they control the tempo of the game, knowing when to change their attack from the left side to the right side. And with this new burst of young talent coming through in football these last couple of years, this only means that teams will no longer have to sign a player to be able to compete. Every club in the world will be able to build a winning team from their own academy, but as long as they are able to keep the players from leaving, they could dominate, just like the 1992 Man United youth team that came through the academy and forever changed the club. For an example, when Ryan Giggs came through the academy, Man United had only won 7 league titles in their entire history, while Liverpool had 18 league titles. When he retired, Man United had won 20 league titles. With 13 of those, he was the one who made a huge contribution. But it wasn't just him. That whole generation, which is known as the class of 1992, was so influential. Players like Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Gary Neville and his brother Phil Neville. These are players who came through the academy, and all the club had to do is to keep them at the club, and they went on to win major trophies. And the same thing happened with the Barcelona team of Iniesta, Xavi, Puyol and Victor Valdez. And then along came Messi and Busquets through the academy. But can you imagine what the 2019 Ajax team could have achieved if they had stuck together? Because they had already made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. League, I think the team would have gone on to do amazing things, but after they had that run, we saw them selling their best players away. De Jong left to join Barcelona and Ajax brought in Marine for 12 million as a replacement. The same thing happened with De Ligt, who went on to join Juventus, and they brought in Edson Alvarez as a replacement, and those replacements never worked out. Hence the team got knocked out in the group stages in the next following season. But with the boom of football talents coming through at every club, teams only need to be able to hold on to their best players, and they could achieve amazing things. What most clubs don't realize is that the transfer window was created as an emergency window to find an expert in a certain player profile that would finish off the vision of the club. Just like we saw with this current Barcelona team, the club brought in Roberto Lewandowski and Marcus Rashford as experts with loads of experience, and the most players in the team came through the academy, and players like Pedri, Gavi were brought at such a young age, one could even identify them as academy recruitments. This Barcelona team is built to compete for the next 10 years with an average of 23.4 years. And Arsenal is another perfect example of a team that has caught on to the new way of success. Having won their first Premier League in 20 years, Mikel Arteta built the team by bringing in young players from the academy. Before signing a player, he would first look at the academy to give him a player to look at. But if the academy couldn't provide an option, then he would consider buying a player from the market. But most managers in today's time, they don't want to integrate players from the academy. They would rather build teams through the transfer window, which usually backfires and is not something long term, because you're building from the outside in instead of building from the inside out. As we saw recently with former Liverpool coach Arne Slot, he couldn't adapt in integrating the academy players and creating the sort of player profile he was looking for. He actually wanted to build the team through the transfer window, and this is what cost him his job in my opinion, because he wanted to bring in Bradley Barcola, whereas he had Rio at the club, and also he wanted to bring in Adam Wharton when he has Troy Nyoni at the club. He even played Frimpong on the right wing, a player that is known as a right back, and left Rio on the bench. But Jurgen Klopp on the other hand would actually bring in players from the academy when the team needed fresh legs. Like that time when Nathaniel Klein got injured, Jurgen Klopp took Alexander Arnold from playing as a number 8 in the academy and made him one of the best right backs in the world. In conclusion, although there is a huge talent in football, most of the responsibility still belongs to the coaches. Alex Ferguson was the mastermind behind the class of 1992 at Man United. Frank Rijkaard was the visionary who went to the academy and set the foundation which Pep Guardiola turned into the tiki-taka team. Having a visionary coach is always the key in building an amazing team from the talent that the academy supplies. Instead of building players through the transfer window, most teams should be prioritizing bringing in players from the academy, because you're getting players that are 18 to 20 years old, players that can play for you for about maybe 10 to 15 years of service, instead of bringing in a player from the transfer window that can offer you a good 4 years, because most players that are brought in through the transfer window, taking it for an example, Kylian Mbappe can offer Real Madrid a premium service of about 5 years. But a player like Vinicius, who was brought in at a young age, can actually play for Madrid for about 10 to 15 years, and he knows his teammates and has chemistry that has been there for long before Kylian Mbappe even stepped at the club, and they won a Champions League with him while Kylian Mbappe joined the team, and he hasn't won any sort of trophies at the club. So I'm not saying that players that are brought in through the transfer window are bad, but actually prioritizing players that are young and are brought in at a young age to be able to integrate themselves at the club is always the best move. Till next time, peace.